Good evening everyone, my name is Usagi.
I'm Zunda.
Tonight, I'll be sharing some true Japanese scary stories.
What kind of scary story is waiting for us this time?
Today's first story will be about a scary ritual known as Hyakumonogatari.
What's Hyakumonogatari?
It's a famous Japanese ghost summoning ritual. You light 100 candles in a room, and throughout the night, the group takes turns telling scary stories. After each story, you blow out one candle, and it's said that when the last candle goes out, a ghost will appear.
That sounds intense. Everyone watching, by the time you finish watching 100 of these videos, a ghost from Japan might be sent across the sea to your place.
During my summer vacation in high school, I invited my close friends to sleep over at my house. There were 4 of us, including myself. My family was out that day, so we had the house to ourselves. We had fun playing games together. Then, at night, one of my friends suggested we go on a courage test. Being young and excited, we eagerly agreed to visit a nearby haunted spot. The spot was a tunnel rumored to be haunted by spirits who couldn't rest in peace. When we arrived and explored the tunnel, there were no ghosts, no strange voices, or odd noises. In the end, nothing happened, and we headed back home. After we returned to my room, the mood was dull. We had planned to stay up all night, so this atmosphere wasn't great. Thinking we needed to change things up, I made a suggestion to my friends. Let's do Hyakumonogatari. Since we were bored, everyone agreed. We didn't have candles. So we dimmed the lights and began our Hyakumonogatari session. We didn't know any scary stories, so we took turns reading ghost stories from the internet. Some of the stories were genuinely terrifying, and I felt chills several times. It was far scarier than the tunnel. Finally, when we finished the 100th story, the room's lights suddenly went out. But that was a prank I had planned. In the pitch darkness, I planned to recreate the classic scary tale where, during a roll call, you end up with an extra response, a sign of a ghostly presence. As expected, when the lights went out, my friends freaked out. I said to my friends, "This is bad. It's definitely the work of a ghost. Is everyone still here, or did someone get taken by the ghost? Let's do a roll call. 1. Yeah, okay. 2. 3. 4.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
What a huge audience.
It seems like quite a few ghosts gathered.
I wonder if those ghosts left peacefully.
Let's hope that they did. Next, I'll tell you a story about staying at a lodge near Lake Biwa.
Lake Biwa. That's the largest lake in Japan, right?
Yes, and driving around the lake takes about 4 hours.
That's such a huge lake.
Actually, it's said that the entire population of Earth could fit in Lake Biwa.
Wow, that's massive.
My friend and I love going on spontaneous trips. We usually pick a destination on a whim and decide where to stay and eat as we go, without any research or checking reviews. This has sometimes led us to strange places, but we always saw it as part of the adventure. This time, we decided to travel to Lake Biwa. By the time we arrived, we had been caught in traffic and reached the lake by evening. We tried to find a place to stay, but most lodges were fully booked. After driving around for a while, we saw a weathered wooden sign. We stopped the car and checked it out. The sign was so faded that most of the writing was illegible, except for the word "in." The sign pointed to a small side road. We got back into the car and headed down that path. The road was narrow, barely wide enough for a single car, and the tall grass brushed against the sides of the car as we drove. After about 3 minutes, we came across what seemed like an inn, though it looked more like a large, old-fashioned house. There was a large frog statue at the entrance. We got out of the car and entered the building. "Hello, is anyone here?" I called out. A pale, flat-faced owner appeared from the back. "Excuse me, can we stay here tonight?" I asked. "Yes, you can," the owner replied. We were tired, so we decided to stay there. We dropped off our bags in the room, and as I looked around, I noticed frog-themed decorations everywhere. Frog paintings, small frog statues, frog-patterned sliding doors, even teacups with frog written on them. To reach our room, we had to pass through a hallway, which provided a glimpse of the family's living room. It seemed that the owners were renting out a room in their home. In the living room, there were 3 large black garbage bags, and I could hear rustling noises coming from them. It felt unsettling, but we were exhausted and soon fell asleep. I woke up sometime in the middle of the night. I could hear frogs croaking outside. Suddenly, I heard a loud a noise like someone banging on the floor in the hallway. I pressed my ear to the door, trying to figure out what was happening. The sound passed by our room, moved to the end of the hall, and then came back. Occasionally, I heard a sound like a belch. A dim light from a nightlight in the hallway illuminated the scene as I quietly opened the door to take a look. I saw the owner hopping down the hallway like a frog. He muttered as he hopped. It was such a chilling sight that I couldn't help but stare. At the end of the hallway, the owner's wife and an elderly man were standing expressionless, watching him. The owner continued to hop, making those strange sounds. As soon as the wife got into a frog-like position, I quickly closed the door. From the direction of the entrance, I heard again. I spent the rest of the night hiding under the blankets, listening to music on my headphones, waiting for morning. When we finally woke up, my friend commented, "Doesn't it smell kind of fishy in here?" I didn't want to stick around long enough to find out why. I gathered my things and we headed to the entrance. The owner was there, still with that pale, flat face. He showed no signs of anything unusual and simply said, "Thank you very much. Please come again." But as we left, I swear I heard a croak, like. It could have just been my imagination, but still. We were supposed to go fishing that day, but I told my friend I wasn't feeling well and we headed straight home. Since then, I can't stand frogs.
Oh no. I'd hate frogs too after seeing something like that.
Maybe the owners were possessed by frogs.
I'd never want to stay at a place like that.
You look a bit green yourself, like a frog. You're not hopping around at night, are you?
No way.
I'll tell you a short, creepy story.
Oh. A short one.
It's a scary experience someone had while running.
I'm excited.
I often go running alone late at night in a large park. It's so big that it takes about 2 hours to walk around the whole place. One night, as I was running with my music on, I saw a girl in a red dress standing ahead of me. When I looked closer, I realized she was standing perfectly still, balanced on a unicycle. Now that I think about it, that's quite an impressive balance. I couldn't see her face clearly, but I had a feeling she was staring at me. At that moment, I was in the runner's high, so I didn't feel scared at all. But after I passed her and kept running for a while, I suddenly felt curious and turned around. That girl on the unicycle was now right behind me. She was slowly pedaling toward me, still balanced on her unicycle. I was running at a pretty fast pace, but how could a unicycle keep up with me? Starting to panic, I ran as fast as I could. I'm pretty sure I broke my own speed record that night. After sprinting for a while and running out of energy, I glanced back again. She wasn't there anymore. But lying just behind me was her red unicycle, with the pedals still spinning.
It's a short story, but definitely creepy. After an experience like that, I would definitely avoid running at night for a while.
That's why running isn't something people should do.
You just hate exercising, don't you?
No, it's to avoid running into ghosts.
Then why not run during the day?
Now, on to the next story. During my university graduation trip, I went to Singapore with 3 of my close friends. We splurged on a room on the 100th floor, the very top of the hotel. When we checked in, the receptionist handed us our room key, saying, "You have the best view in the house." Excited, we rushed to the elevator and headed to our room. The view from the window was breathtaking, and the room itself was lavish, with everything gleaming in luxury. We spent the afternoon exploring the room and resting, and before we knew it, evening had arrived. We had already researched a great restaurant nearby, so we got ready to go out for dinner. As we were about to leave the hotel, the receptionist called us over. "Excuse me, may I ask when you'll be returning?" she asked. Not sure yet, why?" "Well, starting at 11:55 p.m. tonight, there will be full elevator maintenance. Please return before then, or you won't be able to use the elevators." We assured her we'd be back on time and left for dinner. The meal was amazing, and we indulged in some alcohols before wandering the city, enjoying the nightlife. But when we finally checked the time, it was already past midnight. Panicked, we rushed back to the hotel, but as expected, the elevators were out of service. We explained the situation to the receptionist, but there was nothing they could do. One of my friends sighed, "Looks like we're spending the night in the lobby." But I couldn't stand the thought of wasting such an expensive, luxurious room. Neither could my friends. Then one of them had an idea. "Let's take the stairs. It's 100 floors, but we'll make it fun." As exhausting as it sounded, we all agreed. But to pass the time, the same friend suggested, "Since it's 100 floors, let's do a Hyakumonogatari. Tell a scary story for each floor. That should keep things interesting." Fueled by the alcohol and the challenge, we set off. 5 floors. 10 floors. 20 floors. 40 floors. Everyone was getting tired, but strangely, we never ran out of ghost stories to tell, as if something kept us going. We climbed one floor, told a story, climbed another, and kept repeating. 60 floors. 70 floors. 80 floors. 90 floors. 95 floors. 98 floors. Finally, we reached the 99th floor. One more to go. We cheered, feeling a mix of exhaustion and excitement. But the one friend who still had a story to tell remained silent. "Hey, it's your turn," we urged him. "Finish it off." After a long pause, he finally spoke, his voice shaking. "Guys, the next story is the scariest. I might pass out from fear. I'm already trembling and freezing." At first, we laughed, but his serious tone and the way he seemed genuinely scared made us all tense up. Was something really going to happen after the 100th story? Was it more than just a game? Then, he began his final story. "Actually, I left the room key in the lobby."
Oh my god.
What a terrifying story.
It's definitely scary, but in a completely different way.
Sometimes, it's good to mix things up with a story like this.
The fear I was feeling just got blown away all the way across the ocean.
Alright, let's call it a day. Zunda, what did you think of the stories this time?
This time, every story was creepy and scary. Except for the last one.
I'm glad you liked them.
The frog inn was really eerie, even though there were no ghosts involved.
Yes, it had a very unsettling vibe.
I'll make sure not to stay there when I visit Lake Biwa. Also, the Hyakumonogatari sounds interesting. Let's hurry up and tell 100 scary stories so we can send a ghost to our viewers.
At that point, the ghost might get worn out from traveling to so many countries.
I want to hear more of them.
Sure? I'll call you again when I have more scary stories to tell. Subscribe to the channel. That way, we can meet again in the next video.
See you later, alligator.